ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. We are all familiar with the story of our people, how God saved us from Egypt. Our rabbis say, you know why God saved us from Egypt? He saved us because we didn't change our language. We didn't change our clothing. We didn't change our names. We retained the Jewish identity, and then they were called the Hebrew identity. We were descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We retained what they had taught us and didn't assimilate completely into the culture of Egypt. But our rabbis say also, you know, who were the first to disobey the orders of Pharaoh? The first to disobey were really two Jewish women who were assisting during childbirth. There was an order given by the Pharaoh that you had to kill all the males, and they didn't do it. They let them live. They brought life into the Jewish people. Who were these two midwives? Well, according to our tradition, they were probably Yocheved, the mother of Moshe, and Miriam, his sister. They were the ones that assisted the Jewish women while giving birth. Well, the story goes on to say that Moshe was born at that time when all the Jewish males had to be killed. When the parents of Moshe saw that they could no longer hide them, they placed him in a basket, put the basket in the river Nile, and let the basket float to see what will happen with this baby. The story goes on that just on that day, the princess, the daughter of the Pharaoh, went to take a bath in the river, and she saw that basket and heard the cry of a baby. She asked one of her helpers to bring her the basket, and certainly when she took a look, she realized, the Torah says, that it was one of the Hebrew babies. How did she know it was one of the Hebrew babies? Well, our rabbis say because Moshe had been circumcised, so she realized immediately he must be one of them. But maybe something else, you know. Who else would have placed a baby in a basket in the river, except somebody who is desperate, who has no other choice? So she realized it must be one of the Hebrew babies. And Miriam, who was looking on at this episode, went over to the daughter of Pharaoh and said, you know, I know a Jewish woman that can feed this baby during the early years. Give him to me and I will take him to her, and then we'll bring him back to you. And what she actually did was give him to her mother, Yocheved, and she is the one that gave her milk to Moshe, and this is how he grew up. Eventually, he ended up, of course, in the palace of Pharaoh. And you know the story that Moshe went out one day and saw how an Egyptian taskmaster was really behaving very cruelly against one of the slaves, and he took matters in his own hand. This is the story how Moshe begins his long journey, eventually becoming the savior of the Jewish people. But let us stop for one moment. I understand that Yocheved and Miriam, the Jewish midwives, disobeyed the order of Pharaoh. I understand that. But where does this princess come to disobey a strict order of her own father? Obviously, she's an exceptional woman. She is a woman that realizes that there are certain moral laws that go beyond what her father says. Like we know today. A nation can legislate, but cannot come into conflict with some basic human rights. And the first human right is life. Everybody has the right to live, and no nation has the right to legislate against that right of any human being. So therefore she felt that it was immoral what her father did. What was her name? The Torah doesn't say so. But we read in the last book of the Bible, where all the genealogies are mentioned, who and what time he lived and what was his name, she appears as Bitya, the daughter of Pharaoh. Bitya is her name. Our rabbis say, you know what Bitya means? It means Bat Ya, daughter of God. Just like she gave life to a child that wasn't hers, God adopted her as her daughter. There was an echo in heaven because of the good deed that she had done. Let us imagine for a moment what would have happened if the daughter of Pharaoh had not rescued this baby from the basket. No Ten Commandments, no Torah. Look at all the things that we owe to Moshe, to Moses. True, he was the vehicle through which God revealed his will, but he was the vehicle. All of humanity is nurtured by the Ten Commandments. All of humanity is nurtured by the laws of the Torah. Without it, we would be savages. We'd go back thousands of years in our behavior. True, there's still a lot of immorality in the world, but at least we know where the light is, where the path is that we are supposed to travel on. So this Bitya, even though she is unsung in the Torah, was one of the greatest heroines because she ensured a future for the Jewish people and for humanity as well.